Hi, friend. How are you?
I'm good. How have you been?
That's a loaded question, Mike. So today's about you, but I was thinking about the last time that I saw you. We were saying bye to a friend,
Right.
and then literally within seconds, no, really like 2 weeks later, the world turned upside down.
Yeah, we were already on edge at the party because it was just starting to happen.
Was it? I don't remember
Yeah,
that.
I remember because people had already been concerned about
About you
being in
going,
public spaces together, and the parent company at the event said, please, if you can, please refrain from hugging or shaking hands.
okay.
And I was like, that's not good. And I remember this so distinctly because I was like, this is like a going away party for somebody that like these folks have like worked together for decades. Like to ask them not to hug is crazy. So
Yeah, that's all we did was hug. And when we
yeah,
saw you, we were excited. And how are you not going to hug Striker? So it wasn't going to work.
right. Yeah, it was like, and thankfully I didn't get an email, 3 weeks later, like, hey, you've been infected.
If future Mike, the Mike now,
Yeah.
go back to the Mike in that room with like a warning or some wisdom for present day, what would you say to him?
I'd say, don't hug Stryker. Don't hug anybody.
Where it all started. Don't touch anything.
Hug anyone. Why would you don't know what's at risk, man. Because it's like I'm not a super like paranoid person. But the COVID thing is scary, and I have friends who are doctors, and they're like, this is just the science. This is the reality of the infection rates, and you don't mess around with it. Just, in our case, we have asthma in the house. Like my kids and I, like one of my kids in particular has asthma that's as bad as mine was when I was a kid. Mine got better.
Okay.
And so now it's not as bad, but we can't mess around. And we're not even like in the highest, group of people who are in danger with it.
You're a creative person and you're usually in your studio. So was it a big change to go from like living your life outdoors carefree to having to lock down? Like, did that rattle you at all? Because it rattled so many people.
The things that I miss are like, I love to go out to eat. I love to go to a movie.
Yeah.
I love going to concerts.
Yeah.
So that sucks, in terms of like my daily well-being, I've found like, I started like streaming on Twitch. I fell into it.
So the first time I heard about Twitch was Brendan Urie of Panic at the Disco. He was on it all the time raising money or something, but he was hilarious on it. And that's the first thing that I first experienced.
Yeah.
And my understanding, it's a live streaming gamers platform. So how do you break it down for me so I understand exactly what Twitch is?
I decided to start streaming music on Twitch because I tried doing it on other platforms and it was really fun, but the experience of doing it the way it's doing it wasn't ideal. The fans were like, oh, the stream on Twitch is higher quality. It sounds better. And I was like, oh, really? I started paying more attention to Twitch. And then I realized the real reason why people care about streaming on Twitch.
Why?
They make the format of the site makes the chat room fun. You play games and gamify the like experience of hanging out for a longer period of time. There's constantly stuff happening in the chat. And so we started this whole thing on my channel.
Shinoda Bucks.
We started Shinoda Bucks, which you basically just earn their points. You earn Shinoda Bucks by participating in the chat, by being there. Just by watching, you get points. And then we've had various versions of gambling in the chat where you can gamble your points to get more points.
Oh, this is fun.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh, I'm at a crossroads. I'm making, so my concept of my stream is simple. At 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. every weekday, I make a thing from scratch.
So 3 hours, right? 3 hours flat.
It started as 1, and
okay.
now it's 3.
And then it turned into 3.
But in 3 hours, I make an instrumental song, or I do drawings on my iPad. I went to school for illustration, so I do drawings. I do like little digital paintings. They're usually black and white drawings, actually, not usually color. So I make something from scratch every day starting at 10. And at different points, I'll be, in the middle of my thing, and it's like, the question comes up, is this any good? Do you guys like what I'm doing? What should I add next? Should it be guitar or piano or live bass or keyboard or blah, blah, blah? And so I'll put those things, I'll put it to the fans, like, choose a thing. And then that started evolving into this whole redemption program where if they save up enough points, they can actually submit a song style for me to do. And in the beginning, they were suggesting the wildest stuff.
Wait, I wrote
all along
it down.
they have.
No, I wrote it down. So there was one that somebody said they wanted you to go country plus alternative folk. And then they added something else and you do it.
Oh, the third thing was Bavarian yodeling.
Bavarian yodeling. That's it. Bavarian yodeling.
I had one that was, here's the kinds of I started with just doing one theme a day, but then it was more fun to start mashing them up. So I've mashed up, maybe not all of these things together in one, but these are some of the elements that they've thrown at me. Hey, Mike, do a song in the style of Thriller era Michael Jackson, Final Fantasy VII video game theme music, horror hip hop, K-pop, NSYNC Backstreet Boys pop, melodic metal, Frank Sinatra.
Ooh.
Like my favorite one was a song in the style of the Pokemon Mew, who doesn't have a theme song. It's just like look at the cartoon and write whatever comes to mind.
So question. So I want to break it down for the people watching that don't really follow Twitch. So every day you go on during the week, 10 to 1.
Yeah.
And you don't know where you're going.
No, I don't. All I do before the stream is I spend time either researching what the hell it is that they're asking me to make. They said melodic metal in the style of these bands. And I was like, I don't know those bands. What do they even sound like? So I was sitting there listening to the songs going, okay, I'm literally learning about the band and then trying to imitate it.
Fun though. This sounds like so much fun. Is it serious fun? Are you taking this seriously and is it challenging you? Or is this just something that you do to kill time? Where did it start?
It's a little bit of everything. I mean, part of the thing about I love the anchor that it puts in my schedule. I love the regularity of 10 a.m. to 1. I'm going to go do the stream. The fans, they're asking themselves and asking me, how are you going to take this weird random idea that I'm going to suggest and make it sound good?
So are you surprised with your ability to do so? Are you impressed with some of your skills is what I'm saying? Are you surprised?
Am I impressed with myself? I always am.
No, in the most humble way.
I never cease to amaze me.
That's true.
I'm releasing albums of these instrumentals. We're calling it dropped frames because that's what this bad internet is.
Yeah.
That's what it does.
The first one comes out on Friday.
First one comes out on Friday. On that one, actually, there's one song with vocals and it's called Open Door. And the rest of it is instrumental. All of those were written live on live stream.
So whose vocals are that? I believe I read that those were fan vocals.
Yeah, so it's me. The original demo was me all the way down, and then I started basically a hashtag called Sing Open Door because I wanted fans to sing it, and I wanted to pick a fan to put on the song. And then I ended up loving 7 different people's vocals, and I put all of them on the song.
You put all of them together. Oh, that's amazing. And how did you let them know? What was their reaction?
I mean, they were, you know, they were excited. It was like I think we reached out to most of them in like Instagram and Twitter DMs, because they had already submitted the stuff. And I said, hey, I'm thinking of, you know, I'm choosing you as a finalist. I don't know whose voices I'm going to use. So could you please submit high quality vocals? And then I took those vocals and I put them in the session and I played around with them to make sure that I, you know, liked the ones that, like, how to use them. Because like they could submit something and I'd be like, oh, they don't blend well together, and I'm only going to choose 1 or 2 or 3.
Has this opened any doors to your future, as far as like, do you want to score more? Do you still like, do you want to get back in the band? Like, is there anything that this is making you itch for? A live show?
Yeah, I'm like very, like at this point, I'm really on like, I'm just in like a bit of an investigation and an experimentation mode. So like, I don't know. I feel like there will be a next big step, but for right now, I feel like I'm doing my research, and I'm like, plus it's like building community and like doing something that's good, feels good for me and feels good for the fans. Like, I know that the people who come and watch every day, there's usually like 1,000 or 1,500 people in the chat during the streams. And you know, one of the things they can redeem their points for, apart from, you know, a song suggestion, style suggestion, one of the things they can redeem is a question. And a lot of them were submitting as their question. They were just submitting, Mike, thanks for doing the streams. This is so awesome. It's like a lifesaver. That's it. And I was like, for a while, I was like giving them their points back, saying like, that's like not a question. Thank you for saying that. But like, that's not a question. And then the chat was like, Mike, keep the points. Don't don't refund those points. Like, we want to spend our points saying thank you. And that's what we're spending the points on. And I was like, that's the culture though. When I say that culture, I don't think I really said this, but the culture on my channel feels different than every other social media culture that I'm on. I think part of it is because it's a tiny bit more complicated to get into. It requires a little bit of nerdiness that we have.
This much.
You know, we're like nerds. And it doesn't, like, it's also generally really positive and fun. And so when, you know, when I get that kind of feedback, and the types of things that evolve from some of these conversations on the stream, I know that it's basically like the wind is blowing in a direction, and I just kind of, my attitude is like, I'll just follow it and wait and see what happens. I'll follow it to wherever it's headed.
You know what I noticed about the culture on there is, it's funny because the nature of gaming is to be competitive, but there's a familial feeling in there, and it's not competitive. People in there really are, which maybe comes with the nerdiness, because all of my nerd families are very loving, but it's not as performative as, let's say, an Instagram or a Twitter. They're there because they really want to be there. Like, it's a community.
I mean, the bottom line is everybody knows also that there are moderators, and there's a certain expectation of like civility in the chat. And I joked about that from day one when I started on the Twitch and YouTube and all that. Before I was sticking just to Twitch, I was saying, I noticed the minute I started like watching the Twitch chat, I was like, oh, I told them, it's civil on the Twitch chat. Like, why is this the like civil place to be? People are like nice to each other. We can talk about politics. We can talk about race.
Like adults.
We can talk about difficult subjects and not scream at each other.
Civilized, you mean?
Whoa!
What?
I was like shocked. And by the way, I would say things that I know we were talking about Black Lives Matter and police brutality and police rights and BIPOC rights and all this stuff. it was like, there were some people that were like, hey, whoa, like I am a cop, or my brother is a policeman, or my family member, you know, this happened to them by the police. And it was a really like, because it's a chat and it's back and forth and you're all there and you're like, and you've already, like, if you've been on the channel and on the chat for a few days, there's a bit of the like social expectation that you gotta be a little bit more civil and cordial to people, because you don't want to be like kicked out or ostracized, right? It's like, I like this community. I'm not going to ruin my place in the community by being a jerk. Like I'm just going to think twice before I speak. And that's what's missing on so many other social networks.
Not just social network. Isn't that a metaphor for life? Like, I want to be a good citizen of this planet, so I should just think twice before I'm a shitty person. It's how we should behave in general, right?
Right. I believe that. And I also feel like they come, if they're coming to my channel and sticking around, part of that is because I am not a like one-dimensional person. I'm mixed race. I grew up, like, my mom's family is by and large Republican. My dad's family is like not Democrat. They're all over the place. My dad used to be a Republican. Now he's kind of not. And my you know, family like traditions come from, like, we celebrate Japanese Children's Day. We celebrate Japanese New Year. And my brother came to the house with my grandma's biscuits and gravy recipe the other day. Like, it's a mix. It's a, like, we've all, and I feel like so many people, you know, everybody's got, if you dig a little bit and you really extend that interest in somebody else's humanity and life story, then all of a sudden you have like a reason to not be shitty to them.
Yeah.
Right?
If you just do a little digging, you just take take a moment, dig a little. That's it.
The ages of the people in the chat, I just found this out last week. The ages of the people on that channel range at least between 15 and 67.
Really?
There are multiple people in their 60s in the chat.
They're talking to each other.
A bunch of people in their teens, like, and then there's and I think in between is really where there's most people. But like, there was a dope conversation going back and forth between the teenagers and the oldest people in the chat. Because at first, when this one person said her name was Barb,
the boomers.
First when this woman Barb said she was 67, I was like kind of joking with her about it, because I was like, no, you're not. Like, whatever. Like, don't troll me. This is my channel. I'm not going to fall for that. And then, like, she sent me a direct message and was like, Mike, that hurt my feelings. Like, I am 67 years old. And I was like, oh my God. And the next day I came on, I was like, you guys, we hurt Barb's feelings. Like, that was messed up. She's actually 67, and that's amazing. Like, I'm so stoked that she's watching this.
Why did that surprise you? Did it just surprise you that because you have an expectation that, like, people that are maybe that age wouldn't be on Twitch?
Wouldn't be on Twitch? That was part of my point. Is like, dude, you're like, she's on Instagram, she's on Twitch. Like, does she have a TikTok? Like, I want to see that. I want to see that. Barb's gonna be out there like doing TikTok dances to the new stuff.
So I have a couple more that I'm now that we're on this subject, as a matter of fact. As an artist, do you feel that your work should reflect what's going on, like current events, or do you feel like it should provide an escapism, or both?
Oh, that's your call. Yeah, that's definitely people's call as an artist, like where you want to sit in that conversation. Like, there are a lot of folks who come to my channel because it doesn't have words. I think one of the reasons why I decided to put out the music, I've never put out, so with this record that comes out on Friday, I'm already working on the 3rd volume of it. So volume 1 comes out Friday. I've already submitted volume 2, and that's going to come out in a month or so. And then volume 3 I'm kind of working on now. So these are just snapshots of pieces of stuff that I've made that I'm piecing together in like a listenable album format. And the reason, this is the first time I've ever done instrumental albums. They're also independent, by the way. They're all independent records, so they're not like big label releases and whatever. It's completely reliant on fans' support, which is new for me too. Like meaning independent is new for me too. The idea of putting out instrumental music right now, I feel like it drew me in because social media is so noisy. And everything's so noisy. The news cycle's so noisy and everybody's yelling. Yeah. So my thought was, well, you know what? One of the reasons why people like the channel is because either we're chatting about stuff that's going on. It might be very benign stuff, or it might be, what's in the news. But the music is always chill and instrumental. And we go on these, like, I'll vibe out. I'll like forget that the screen's even on for like an hour. And maybe not an hour, but for a period of time. And then they'll see me go like, oh yeah, you exist. And they're like, hi, Mike, welcome back. The reason that's so, I feel like that's kind of necessary right now. Like, I don't want to be yelled at. Like, there's periods of time where I don't want to be yelled at. I just want to put on some music that isn't gonna weigh me down. It just kind of lets my mind like wander and expand and chill.
I've been the one thing, I don't want to take up your time, but the thing that saved me throughout all of this, my pandemic hero, is music, because everything is too noisy. There's a lot of people that are yelling about things they think they know about, but they don't really. And there's friends arguing. Everything is an argument. So music is like, I put on my headphones and I get to work out the stuff that's in my own head, and it's great. So I can't wait to hear what you have.
Yeah, believe me, I have my Run the Jewels days too. Like,
how good is that album?
There's times when I want to listen to that, and I want to engage in all that stuff. And then other times when I've got to like pull the plug and just chill. So I find that those times too, by the way, the times for like instrumental music or like more chill stuff is like when I'm cooking and making dinner, when I'm just hanging out with people. Like, we've had little like distance play dates for the kids and distance like hangouts. It's weird to sit like 8 feet away from people at a table.
And not hug. It's so weird.
It's like a table made for 6, but you've got 4 people at it and you're all super far away.
So weird. But I'll take what I can get.
I had my parents like at the house for the 4th, and like trying to stay really cognizant of distance from them because they're in the older, danger zone for COVID. But those scenarios I've been finding are like, for me, a lot of times that's like instrumental music scenarios.
Yeah, you just want to lay into it. So we're celebrating 100 years of radio, and there's some bands that do well on radio. There's some bands that do better live. Some bands do great, like just with their albums. You've been by yourself in Fort Minor and Linkin Park. You've had success everywhere, but radio in particular has embraced you. So my question is, celebrating 100 years of radio, what has radio meant to you in your life?
I mean, it's when I was a kid, radio introduced me to like a lot of my favorite, music. I think especially in, when I think back about KROQ in particular, like bands like Rage and Smashing Pumpkins and Nirvana. I mean, like, it's almost like seems like obvious, but those were all like really important moments for me in terms of my musical education. And I should say 9 Inch Nails too, like really big influence. And yeah, so those things, the idea of human beings picking through all the stuff that's out there and picking stuff that like is gonna like move the culture. I think that's always valuable. Like, nobody wants to be dictated what's good and what's not. But certainly when somebody's just got a good ear and a way of like telling that story of a band that you should hear about or listen to, mean, I find like I find with my friends, I'm one of those people for sure, where I hear something and I text the friend that has to hear it. I do that all the time.
How does it feel when you, to this day, you still hear Linkin Park music, or you still hear your own music on the radio? How does that affect you?
I mean, it's just a feeling of gratitude. Like we, at my house, with my kids, we before bed, we ask them 2 questions. We ask, what's your favorite part of the day? And we ask them, what are you grateful for?
That's awesome.
And it's one thing when you have a good day and that's an easy question. It's another when you have a crappy day and you're forced to, like, you know, I'm not going to let them slide with some answer, some whatever answer, especially if they had a bad day. It's like, okay, well, you did have a bad day. I'm not going to argue with you. You had a bad day. What are you grateful for? For me, if I ask myself that question, you know, having the support of the fans over so many years, and I mean, look, Numb, and in the end, in the end, just crossed 1 billion plays on YouTube this week.
Mind blowing.
Yeah, it's crazy, and I think it's our second song to get to 1 billion. So to be in people's minds and have songs that means something to people is nothing I would ever expect to have accomplished or expect to have. I shouldn't say accomplished, but it's not like we didn't have any hand in it, but it certainly we couldn't have done it without the fans. Yeah, we couldn't have done it without the fans.
Accomplished.
It's a joint effort.
It's a joint effort. Before I let you go, you ask all these great questions sometimes on Twitter, a lot of times. And yesterday, what was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday you asked to describe your favorite band or artist in the most boring way. I don't know where you get these questions, but
I gave them a shout out when I saw it. I shouted out their Twitter name is mythical, but it's Rhett and Link, and those guys had asked their fans what's their favorite. I think because they're basically like a YouTube channel, they had asked their fans like, "What's your favorite channel?" Describe it in the most boring way possible.
Oh, and that's where you got it. Okay.
Yeah. I shouted them out on that tweet.
I'm trying to see. I had mine somewhere written down and I can't find it, but I wanted to see if you could guess it. It was natural preserves. There's no way you're going to get that. It's boring as hell. Natural preserves. I can give you a clue.
Natural.
Think of yeah, well, that's the only thing it's natural round preserve.
I know preserve, so I'm going to guess Pearl Jam.
Yes. You're good at your own game. Yeah, you're good at your own game. I wanted to say thank you to you. You've always been really classy guy. You've always been really kind and generous with us, and it's always whenever you walk in a room, it always feels like a homie. And it's just refreshing because not everybody is like that.
Thanks, Nicole. Appreciate that.
And lastly, I'm dying to hear Session McSession Face. What the names for these songs on the album? Like,
they're kind of inside jokes. There's some of them are inside. They're kind of inside jokes. But
so, wait, there's one. I was watching a video of yours on Twitch, and you were in somebody's island. I think that's what you call it.
I mean, not 90% of the time it's me in my studio, like I said, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. But once in a while I will unwind and play Animal Crossing, and I'll stream it. And so, so one of the things on that you can redeem Shinoda bucks for is an Animal Crossing visit. So fans will save up their points. It's a lot of points too, by the way. Yeah. It's a lot of points. You gotta be watching my stream a lot to get an Animal Crossing visit.
Well, you got so excited, and all I saw was like there's a little I can hear you going emo, booty up, booty down, emo. What the
Dude,
hell is that?
That it's all like I said. It's like there's a lot of inside jokes.
They're lingo.
It's a lot.
One of your songs is booty up, booty down, isn't it? Or booty or emo?
So yeah, the story behind that one is I actually have to go. Okay, the story behind that one is I was trying one of the fans challenges was to do a song in the style of Panic at the Disco. And I was like, okay, like what era, whatever. And I really started thinking about it. I was like, you guys, this is hard because first of all, they have a lot of different styles. But second, without Brennan's voice, it's not Panic. Like, his voice is so much of the thing that my track isn't going to sound like them. So we started making it, and it sucked. And some of the fans liked it, but I was just like, you know, I don't like it. I don't like it. I'm not happy doing it. And I just started getting a little bit like down. And this is the example of when one of these ideas like just doesn't go right, and it will once in a while it will happen. And I was like, you know what, we need to turn this around. And I went into my library of sounds, and every time you buy a pack of sounds, a lot of them include like these weird, dumb vocal samples. Okay. And I found all of these stupid vocal samples, and two of them were this guy going booty up and booty down. And I just put them on my sampler, and I started making a beat, and like 10 minutes later, I had this ridiculous Miami bass track called Booty Up, Booty Down. It's hysterical. I mean, it's so stupid. It's the stupidest song I've ever made.
Okay, well, on that note, I know you have to go. I don't want to keep you.
I can't wait for people to hear this. This album contains the stupidest song I've ever made.
Booty Up, Booty Down. Mind you, I'm from Miami, so to me, it's going to be the best song that you've ever
You're
made.
going to love this song. Yeah.
I'm going to love this song. Mike, thank you so much. Get better internet. We love you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.